Welcome to Tbilisi, the capital of the very mountainous country of Georgia, here in the Caucasus. At the crossroads of Europe and Asia, between the Black Sea and the Caucasus Mountains, lies Georgia, a country caught between its Soviet past and its drive to join the West. As one of the earliest Christian nations, it shares some ties with Europe, yet keeps a distinct identity. During my stay, I explore the city, taste its rich cuisine, and see traces of ongoing political tension firsthand. And today, we're gonna explore the city together. I'm here in the old town, right in front of the Bridge of Peace, this very modern structure here that stretches across the river. So let's head over to the other side. And peace is what Georgia would actually need much more of. After a foreign influence law was passed in 2024, which critics say could give Russia more influence in the country, massive protests broke out when the ruling party, Georgian Dream, stayed in power later that year in elections the EU said had serious irregularities. A second wave of rallies started and has continued since. People are taking to the streets to resist growing Russian influence, but hope feels limited for now. So right now the situation is much more relaxed. There are some small protests happening almost every night, especially on the weekends, and we probably can see a little bit of that later once we're gonna visit the parliament. But for now, let's explore the city. I'm here on the other side of the river now, in this beautiful park. And we can see over here, the whole city is built on hills. We're gonna see a lot more of that once we head over to the old town over there. That's where I'm gonna bring you now. And the architecture here is really beautiful. Very bohemian. And on the other side, here up on the hill, we already see the first church. And behind there, up on the mountain over there, there's another church, because the country of Georgia is really religious. They have the Georgian Orthodox Church here, and they have a huge political influence. So it's not only religious, the church is very political. People trust the church. Because of that, the church tries to push more of the conservative values, which do not align with European values, but rather with the Russian values. We can still see all of the EU flags here. There are a lot of EU flags around the city. There are still a lot of people that want to become part of the EU just because it will open up so many more options. Because work opportunities, there is not that much work here in the country. There is not that much money here in Georgia. Young people don't really have a perspective. That's why they want to join the EU, though for now, any talks about becoming a member have been halted until at least 2028. Let's have a look up here, up the mountain. I think this is part of the old town, and as you can see, the city is very hilly, so visiting and walking around the city is definitely a very good workout. But that's beautiful, the architecture. And we also already see the first winery right over here, because outside of Georgia there have been clay jars found dating back 8,000 years. And this makes Georgia the oldest known destination to produce wine. So nowadays we often say, here Georgia, this is where wine originated. Let's have a look further up here. These buildings are really so beautiful. So we have even more wineries up here. And this is actually not even my first time in Georgia. I've been here for the first time 2 years ago. I traveled the whole country for about 6 weeks, and it is very interesting to see how it changed, because obviously the first time I came, everything was pushing way more pro-EU, and seeing this change is definitely very interesting. Let's have a look in here. The door is open. I think it's some sort of religious building, as we have so many here in the country of Georgia. Yeah, so I'd say we're not gonna go in there because I'm definitely not dressed appropriately for visiting a church. But look at this view over the mountains. Of course, we have another church up there, and we have another church up there. But look at this, the old town, the buildings. Down here we have the river with the boats. You can take boat tours here. It is definitely a really, really beautiful city. And over here already we have more wine growing. All of this up here are grapes. So that's actually very convenient that they grow their own wine here at this church, so they can produce their own blood of Jesus Christ, I think, that you usually drink in a church, right? So as you can probably tell, I'm not an expert in religion, especially not in Georgian Orthodox religion. That's why I'd say we're going to leave the church behind and head back down into the old town. I know I just told you guys no more churches, but I just found this old looking building here and the door is open, so let's have a look inside. Because Tbilisi as a city is 1500 years old, so of course we find a lot of very old structures, very old buildings here. Like this one, for example. I think we can head down to the river over here. So let's have a look down there. That's beautiful down here, absolutely beautiful. Wow, and here we have some sand and a little kitty cat. That seems to be a very holy kitty. Hi! This is beautiful how they just build this church inside the rock. And over here on the other side we can see the cable cars going up the mountain. So I'd say let's head over the bridge to the other side and let's check out what we can see over there. Tbilisi is really, really picturesque. Just look at the mountains, at the river. This down here, this is where we just were. I've spent the last couple of weeks traveling Central Asia. I know a lot of people also count Georgia as Central Asia, like geographically, if you look on a map, I'd say yes, it's definitely Central Asia. But if you look at the people, at the religion, at the culture, I think it is wrong to call them Central Asian. I think they are just much, much, much more aligned with Europe. They seem very, very European. Down here we have some sort of bazaar. We've seen a lot of bazaars in Central Asia, but also Tbilisi was located along the ancient Silk Road. So let's have a look in. And yeah, here you can see like all the Georgian wines. Georgia is so famous for their wines. So here they really rebuilt some bazaar, some caravanista. I don't know if it is original, like the location is original, because everything that we see in here is definitely renovated. And yeah, if you're looking for tourist souvenirs, you can definitely find whatever you want here, I guess. If you want to bring something home for your family. It does seem very, very touristy to me. So yeah, let's head back out. It's nice, it's nice. The Meidan Bazaar, definitely worth a visit. Walking these little streets, I almost feel back in Western Europe. It is so nice. Almost feels like home, even though Europe isn't even my home anymore. I left it 3.5 years ago. It is very nice here. I really like it. Having all the tables and chairs here out in the street and the parks, the trees. Who wouldn't feel like in Europe here? Here we have another church, and here on this side we have another church too, or at least there's a cross on the building. So yeah, I think seeing all these churches gives you an impression of how religious this country is. and how conservative this country is therefore. Let's try to find some more quiet streets. Let's not just hang out where all the tourists hang out. I think we found some more quiet streets over here. So let's head up there. We're gonna have to climb some hills, I think. But it is much more quiet. There's no tourists. And already you can see it is not nearly as developed as the touristy area down there. But honestly, I personally find these roads so much more interesting to see how people live. So these balconies up here are really a little bit sketchy. I don't know if you see that, but they're like really bent. That's not a 90-degree angle up there anymore. I'd be a bit scared that I go on this balcony and it suddenly breaks. I might just be exaggerating here. Like, I don't know. I just do think they look a little bit sketchy. They're beautiful though, like I really like it. I really like the vibes. It doesn't look as cleaned up and polished. And yeah, it looks quite different. It definitely does look way more authentic, I'd say, because we can't forget that Georgia is not a rich country. The places we saw down there might look really developed, really cleaned up. You feel like you're in Europe though. You leave that area down here and you come up here where I am right now. And yeah, you get a very different feeling. And up here on the hill, all the way up there, we have the Mother of Georgia statue. In one hand, the woman holds a bowl of wine for friends, and in the other one, a sword for the enemies. And now we've arrived to the Freedom Square of Tbilisi. Let's head over there so we can have a better look at the statue here. During Soviet era, we had a huge statue of Vladimir Lenin right here in the middle. But when Georgia gained independence in 1991, pretty much the first thing they did when the Soviet Union fell was tear down the Lenin and replace it with some George, some saint who's slaying some dragon on his horse. Yeah, I don't know that much about the story of this. But yeah, now we have a religious symbol here on Freedom Square. And now we're gonna head over there to Rustaveli Street, one of the main streets here in Tbilisi city. Here in this street, buildings are definitely way more grand. We can see this over here on the side of the road. The road itself is also really wide, but there are lots of trees, so again, something that's very European, but that's probably also left over from Soviet times. The Soviets always tried to make their cities very nice for people, for pedestrians, lots of trees, and a very good transportation system. And that's where we're gonna go now. We're gonna go to the metro station because it's one of the deepest metros in the whole world. And here we're at the Parliament, and we can still see a lot of remains from the demonstrations that are still happening every evening here. And especially on the weekends, there are large gatherings of pro-EU demonstrations. In here, we have a very iconic building dating back to Soviet times. It's a cable car station going up to Imprisonments Park. And the last time I was here in Tbilisi 2 years ago, this was actually basically an abandoned place. It was like decaying and broken, but they recently renovated it, and only in 2024 did they reopen this iconic building. And the reason it was closed for so long is before the Soviet Union fell, there was a tragic accident. The cable car broke and about 19 people died, 40s were injured, so they shut it down. And only recently they reopened it. So let's see if we can have a look inside. Because we're not gonna go up the mountain today, we're gonna go down to the metro. But look here. They renovated all of this, and now you can take the cable car up the mountain again to Imprisonments Park. Excuse me if I don't pronounce it correctly, The Georgian language is incredibly hard to pronounce in my opinion, but it is a very, very cool language and a very cool script. It's only one of 14 original scripts that's still in use nowadays. And there are no relatives to this language. It's completely unique. And this is really cool, I think. So now we're going to Rustaveli Metro station. It's just over there. It opened in Soviet times. And it is quite deep. It goes very far down. So this station is 60 meters deep. And that is because back then these stations doubled as bomb shelters. So down there we're actually safe from a nuclear attack. I don't know exactly how long the whole ride takes, but it's pretty long. We're gonna have to switch to the second metro line because we're on our way to a very iconic Soviet building. So it's another really cool station in Soviet style. I'm gonna talk to you again once we arrive. There's lots of people in the metro line, so I'm gonna put my camera away for now. We arrived to the Sabuatalo district here in Tbilisi now. And one thing I want to say is the metro here is really, really affordable. For the ride on 2 different lines across the whole city, it only costs less than 50 cents. Now we're on our way to a very iconic Soviet building. And here we are, the Tbilisi Skybridge. Very iconic buildings built in Soviet era, very iconic brutalist structure. They are connected with these sky bridges up here. So they also function just for daily life. If you want to get up the hill over there, you're gonna go into this building, elevator up and sky bridge over. So this is a very, very iconic building dating back to Soviet times. And I'd say we're gonna head over and see if we can get in. Bridge elevator. So I think we're gonna take that one. So not gonna lie guys, that might sound a bit silly, but I'm a little bit scared of old elevators. Especially old elevators like this one. But we're gonna do this. So only 20 Tetri coin. That one here, no other coins allowed. Okay, I'd say this has definitely been modernized since Soviet times. I think this is where our coin goes. And we're gonna go up to 14. So I've put the coin. Do I have to take another coin? Maybe I should have pressed the button before putting in the coin. Well, so let's put this one in. Well, it's scamming me. I've already put 2 coins in here. So like I'm running out of 20 Tetra coins. Let's try another one. Wow, this is my 3rd coin I'm putting in. This elevator here is scamming me. I do not understand why it does not work. It does. Yes, I put 2 in.
220. 2. 1 отсюда, 1 обратно.
I already put 2 in. 2.
Выходи, не надо вызвать лифта. Фотокамера вас смотрит и снимает. Смотри.
I think she's gonna get changed, but the thing is I've already put 2 coins in.
Bridge elevator.
Yeah.
40. Bridge.
Yes.
Вот это держи, туда положи.
Yeah.
А это
Okay.
в кармане положи.
So I guess you have to slam the money machine and then it should work, but it's still not working. She's making a lot of money here. Okay. Well, we're on our way. Oh my god, this is a bumpy ride. A bumpy ride. We're gonna go up to level 14. I just really don't trust this old elevator mechanic. I know it's irrational, there's no point for me being worried. Is there? Yes. We are here on the Skybridge. And wow, guys, last time I was here, this was old and rusty. This has been completely modernized. This bridge, last time I was here, it had holes in the floor. You could see all the 14 floors down to the ground. It has been fixed. Wow, this has been modernized a lot. I don't know if I really like it. I think I like the old version a little bit better before. But I mean, it's probably necessary to renovate that stuff sometimes. Look at this view. It's really interesting to see just the commie blocks down there and then these like modern high-rises behind. But this one here is definitely not your average commie block, as you can see. So this building here was meant to be like its own community, its own self-sufficient community. And there were a lot of projects planned similar to this one, though they ran out of money. They were never realized. These were very, very nice apartments, 30 square meters, own kitchen, own bathroom, 2 connected bedrooms. Yeah, very sought after, but of course back in the Soviet Union you didn't just choose where you wanted to live. No, the state gave you an apartment and it was free. You didn't have to pay. Everyone back in Soviet times got an apartment by the state for free. Of course, you couldn't choose. The apartments were allocated based on the size of your family, how many children, how old you are, and of course, how loyal you are to the government, to the party. And if you were lucky, you got an apartment here, in this building. And we're back down. This time the elevator worked without problems. And now I'd say we're gonna head back to the city center. Now, as promised, I'm gonna show you some Georgian cuisine because it is my favorite cuisine in the world. Like, I really, really enjoy it. I decided not to get a wine because I got a little headache today, but we still got some very good Georgian food. So let's start with a salad. This is a very typical salad. It is with cucumbers and tomatoes. And they put like a very interesting sauce on here. But let's start with a salad to have some healthy food, some vitamins. Cheers. And now, my favorite dish in the world, Khinkali. These are kind of like dumplings. You can get them with different fillings here. I'm gonna show you, they're very hot. these little dumplings. The traditional filling is meat, also very popular cheese. They have a very special cheese here in the country, Sulguni cheese. It's homemade cheese, very good. But my personal favorite is with mushroom. So here we have a mushroom Khinkali, and you eat it by holding the handle up here, biting and slurping out all of the juices. So here we have the mushroom filling. These are so good. There's so many herbs in there. And then you just eat the Khinkali around the handle. And then you just leave the handle here. Done. It is a bit messy, and if you want to eat like a real Georgian, the goal is to not drop any of the juices inside on your plate. So I failed. I have a drop of juice here. But these are so good. So good. This is my favorite food. There's so many more dishes here, and I'm really happy because they have so many vegetarian dishes, so it's perfect for me. Like, the cuisine just has so much vegetarian stuff. And maybe tomorrow we can try some more. Welcome to a new day here in Tbilisi. It's lunchtime, and as you can see, I'm at another restaurant because today I'm gonna have some Khachapuri, a very iconic dish here in Georgia, and it is so good. I honestly think I should make a whole food tour about this country because the food is so great. I just ordered and waiting for the food, and then we're gonna try it. My Khachapuri just arrived, and here we have it. It's a boat-shaped bowl with melted cheese and some raw egg. And we're gonna mix this up to make it nice and creamy. This is a Khachapuri Georgian. There are different versions of Khachapuris here. This specific version comes from the Batumi area, from the Black Sea, because when the sailors came back from their sailing trips, they needed a lot of calories. That's why they invented this type of food, and that is why the bowl is shaped like a little boat. You also get some butter on the side. Some put it in, some put it on the side. I will leave it out. I think it's greasy enough already as it is. And now we've mixed it up very nicely. Also get all the cheese under the crust. And then we're just gonna dip it in. Cheers. That really is so good. So I'm gonna finish my food, and then I'd say we're gonna head out and explore the city. This part of the city here, guys, this feels so European. Just have a look around with all the architecture and the trees on the side of the sidewalks. Look at the buildings here. That could be honestly somewhere in Western Europe. And that is because there did live a lot of people from Europe here in Georgia. And they brought their architecture here. And that's why the streets over here, where I am right now, look so European. And now I want to go to a very special monument, a little bit outside the city center, to the Chronicles of Georgia. And to get there, we're gonna have to take another metro. But luckily there's a metro station right over there, which we can take to get there. I'm gonna head into the metro now, and I'm gonna see you guys at our destination. So guys, we are here in the outskirts of Tbilisi. We're not at the monument yet, the Chronicles of Georgia monument. And that is probably because I just messed up the bus and didn't take the right bus. So now we're gonna have a little walk. We're gonna have to walk up that hill, that mountain over there. And somewhere over there, there's, oh, I think over there, guys, here, this one, that's the monument. So let's start hiking, let's go, and let's get up there. Oh, that was a short but brisk hike. We're up the mountain, we're almost there. there behind the trees. Can you see it? Right over here. That's where we're gonna go now. Almost there. There's a really nice breeze up here on the mountain. Guys, we have arrived. We are here at the Chronicles of Georgia. Let's head up the stairs and have a closer look. Here we are. Here we have the Chronicles of Georgia. This is a very iconic monument here. The pillars are up to 35 meters tall, though from what I've read, it has never been fully finished, never been fully completed. And I think we can see that down here. Like the edges here are not finished, though they could also be broken. I'm not exactly sure. But this monument depicts the history of Georgia. So let's head inside and have a look. Wow. It is really impressive. It is really tall. I think it is a total of 16 pillars. And up here on the upper parts, we have like kings and queens and heroes of Georgia. And down here on the lower parts, like here, this is the story of Jesus Christ. Because as we know by now, religion plays such an important role here in this country, not only in the country's history, but also in present day life. It is so important here. It's something very foreign to me. It is very foreign to someone coming from Germany, where religion is basically not really existent anymore, I would almost say. But it's very different here in Georgia. I do not see many women on here, I have to say. So I don't think women played the most important part in the country's history, from looking at the pillars here. And over here, all around, we have a beautiful view, so let's head over there. So here we have the water reservoir of Tbilisi. And over here on the other side, we have a beautiful view over Tbilisi above all the Komi blocks over here and the mountains in the back. If you've watched this video until here, I thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. And yes, this is the end of my video about Tbilisi. It is an incredible city. It is so interesting. The mixture of Soviet history, but also this very European touch. And at first glance, it really feels so European. But if you look a little bit beneath the surface, you see so many differences. And yes, there are a lot of issues still here in the country. And once you spend a little bit time here, it also becomes very apparent that people are just desperate for a better life. And as of now, there is no solution. And I really hope for the people that it will get better. Whatever the better solution looks like, I really hope the situation will change. And yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna travel to Kutaisi, where I'm gonna do some urbexing in an abandoned Soviet-era sanatorium town, and I hope you're gonna join me again next Thursday for this adventure. Bye bye.